Aw, a cold, rainy, nasty, kind of cold night here in California, in the San Francisco area here in the US. What I wanted to talk to you about today was some actual good news and then some procrastination news. So the good news is that China has decided to ban its exports of a total ban on its domestic ivory trade. 100%. That is really good news for the African elephant, whose DNA is becoming so diluted because of its interbreeding, because there isn't enough breeding stock left. It's looking as if elephants might be on the brink of extinction as well. We don't do something about it. China will put this ban in full operation by the end of the year 2017. Now, let's go over to the board and talk about another subject. We know how all these problems are coming on, one after another, and we wait till the very end to even try and fix the smallest problems. Let's go over to the board. So this bus represents the planet Earth. So in the front of the bus are the leaders of the world, and they're discussing on how to protect the bus if it's in danger at all. Most of the scientists say that the bus is headed for this wall at a very high rate of speed, and that we somehow have to stop the bus from hitting the wall or we all die. Some are saying that there's no problem whatsoever, that it's and they claim denialism. A lot of others are saying do nothing, and then some are saying it's all fake and that the bus is just stationary and isn't moving at all. But then you have some of the other more progressive and well thought out senators and leaders saying disengage the engine. Oh wow, man, amazing. Let the air out of the tires. Or again, move the wall. But a lot of the denialists are saying build the wall. So what's happening here is that the scientists are talking about the distance between the bus and the wall. And they keep measuring this over and over. And they keep coming out with the same number over and over and over. And no matter how they measure it, it always comes out the same distance. But they keep talking about, well, we'll measure it a different way to see if it'll come out any differently, and it still comes out 67, for example. Then other scientists are trying to measure the height of the wall to see if that has anything to do with anything. So they measure and measure and measure and measure and measure, and they keep coming out with the same number. And then you have scientists that are talking about the speed of the bus towards the wall and how much time we have between this section and this section, and whether we have enough time to put on the brakes, and where the bus will stop if we were to put on the brakes here, and the brakes would take this long to get the bus to stop before it crashes into the wall. But the longer they procrastinate and talk about this length and that length and where the speed is and all this, these 2 points start moving forward. And before you know it, the second point is past the wall. Well, if you put the brakes on here and the bus won't stop till here, you know that you're in trouble. Well, right now, this is the scenario the planet it is in now. The bus has moved up to this point here, and we still have not put the brakes on yet. In fact, it's drill, baby, drill. Put the gas pedal on even harder, which then again moves this point even further into the wall, which means the impact of the bus hitting the wall will cause more damage and more death. So my point with climate change is that we have studied and studied this whole thing to death, and it's time to actually do something. It's time for the leaders of the world, whoever they are, to get together and figure out how to put the brakes on climate change. I have a video down below from Paul Beckwith, who just put on his latest 2 videos about climate change, and I think you should watch them. One other issue I wanted to talk about is morality. And where is it? Where is the morality about the planet Earth? What I'm trying to get at here is that our planet is living from the top of its atmosphere all the way down miles and miles into the Earth. We don't even know where the end of life in the center goes, how far down it goes. We don't know. As far down as we go, life is there. So there's a morality issue here. Why are we throwing toxic waste down into our planet under high pressure, under the notion that that's a garbage depository? I don't like the thoughts of throwing garbage on the planet anywhere. To me, there's a morality that money corrupts your mind. Once you figure out a way to make money, and if it happens to be tearing down forests or digging up the earth or damming up the waters or using up materials that are precious and rare and take a lot of resources to get, just to throw them away, that's a morality problem. And it's probably one of the biggest problems in the human society, is that we don't care what happens to the very planet that we live on. For some reason, we just give up so quickly, and we just go for the money, and to hell with the planet, I guess. As long as we make money off of it or get a job from it, it's okay. And that's the way most humans think. So there's a lot of movements that are out right now that are about morality. The anti-pipeline movements, the no fracking movements, the anti-tar sands movements up in Canada. Talk about a morality problem. That's all about money. It's not about oil or supplying anybody. That's just about making money for a very few people. And of course, those few people are ultra rich, aren't they? They just keep wanting more money. So the thought of destroying the planet doesn't bother them. When they look over the tar sands up in Canada, they see a black mess of pure money. They don't care if the boreal forests are wrecked or if the pollution goes off in all directions for mile after mile, destroying native lands that were once precious to people. Unbelievable. But morality is what's missing in human society. Morality towards our own planet. This planet is alive, and fungus is so important, and we cut roads right through fungus, which transports nutrients and water and other things to plants from one region to another. But again, if it makes money, what does that matter? Who cares about that, right? Even though our lives depend on it. It's where a lot of the food comes from, that those plants that you eat came from, and we're using it up very quickly. It's all about the money, isn't it? That's too bad. Our last video saw lots of activity on the comment section, and I certainly do appreciate it. A lot of good thinking in there. I really appreciate that. I'm not going to comment on the comment section because I don't want to mess it up yet. We have to wait till Google fixes it before I can go back to commenting on our own comment section. I appreciate all the new comments on this video and the comments on the last video, and the ups and the downs and the new subscribers. And until next time. Mushy, my water's boiling.